Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 247. It is Tuesday here in Cincinnati, very cloudy, probably going to rain a little bit today. It rained last night and we so needed the rain for all of the green around here. But it's a little gray right now and hot, very sticky. It's summer. I was looking at the weather forecast too, and it looks like we have sunshine all the way through next week. So we are in, what do they call them, the dog days of summer, those hot days where you're feeling it. You're feeling it. So today, I went for my run early this morning, and it was kind of cloudy, and when I was coming around one of the last bends, the sun just came through the clouds, and I took this beautiful photo, which I'll share as the image for today. And now it's back to cloudy again, and I feel like that is so representative of the energy that's moving collectively on our planet right now. We have, and this may not be your match, but if you're listening to it, I'm guessing there's a match somewhere in you. We feel like things are unclear. We're not quite sure which way we're moving, and we're not quite sure what is shifting inside of us or what is happening in our little world around us. And then there are these moments, these flashes where the sunlight comes through and we're reminded, it's okay. It's okay. Like right here, right now, everything is okay. And I know which direction I'm going. And then perhaps it gets cloudy again, or we go back into the emotions or the mind, and things get a little confusing and uncertain and unclear, and we feel lost. If that is your experience, my invitation or suggestion for you is just be with what is shifting in the moment. So if you're in the uncertainty or the unknown, just be okay with it, just for a little while, because those flashes of knowing and light will be there. And so for now, perhaps there's something to be understood or learned in the uncertainty, in the cloudiness. And when the cloudiness shifts and that sunlight pours through, soak up the light. Just soak up how good it feels and how it illuminates the path again, and how you know that you're moving forward and you can see the road and you can see the trees, and there's a little bit of joy and laughter that comes through. And if maybe you haven't been super motivated to move around or to get outside or even to eat or drink a lot, if you're just sort of, in that kind of space, and then that flash of light comes through and you have a little motivation, flow with that motivation. So go outside for a little bit, make yourself something to eat, have a big glass of water. When you're in that space of feeling good, expand it as much as possible. Be in your body as much as possible. And so then when it gets cloudy again, you're a little more resourced, a little bit stronger, a little bit steadier, and it doesn't feel quite as overwhelming the next time it gets a little cloudy. And if all of this is not your experience and you're feeling super good and everything's great, it may be that you're hearing this so that you can be a little more compassionate or aware of those around you who are experiencing this in and out, this not quite sure what's happening or what's next. When we are feeling great, we want everyone else usually to feel great too, because we don't want to have to spend our time and effort having someone who doesn't feel great feel better. So often we're like, oh, I don't want to hear all your sad stories, or I don't want to hear why you're not feeling that good. My invitation for you, if that's where you find yourself, is can you just be present with someone who is feeling that way? You don't have to save them or fix them or do anything to make it better or easier. Can you just be present with them? Be where they are, even as you hold yourself in that space of feeling good. Can you just simply be present with someone else's discomfort and allow them to be where they are? Right? Just breathing and being aware, being conscious of all the different ways that people are showing up in the world right now. You don't have to do things for other people, but simply being aware that someone else is struggling or suffering, you can just share compassion with them. You can just share a moment or a smile or a breath or just a simple word of, I know it seems rough right now, and it's okay. The sun's coming back out in a little bit. You might not see it right now, but trust that it's there. And just that moment of kindness, that tiny opening of compassion and presence from you to another person, you have no idea what that could mean to that person. You have no idea how important that could be for them. One tiny, tiny moment of compassion and kindness can literally transform another person's day. And that transformation of their one day can ripple out and transform their entire existence. It's that powerful. It's that powerful. So be as present as you can be with the people around you, wherever they are finding themselves. Be in your own feelings of joy or excitement or delight or enthusiasm for this life. Be in that experience, and also at the same time just be present with the others around you who may not be a match to that. And allow that sunlight to move through you and into the world around you. Not that you have to do it for them or tell them about the light that you feel inside, or you just are present with them and something is shifting. For those who find themselves in that space of intensity or confusion or just not quite sure what's happening, just knowing something isn't right, something feels different, something feels a little heavy or confusing, and you can't quite put your finger on it, but the world just feels a little off right now, a little unsteady. I suggest listening to yesterday's podcast about steadiness if you haven't yet, or even if you have, listen to it again and feel the vibration of that message. It's really short, and it's also just about coming back to being steady. And then I offer you this beautiful Zen wisdom. It's from my Osho Zen card deck. And the card is called Turning In. And it's a little confusing when I read the words of Osho. So I think I'll read those first, knowing it might be a little confusing as you hear it, because even when I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, what? But there's a truth and a transmission of love and energy that comes through the words. You don't have to actually understand them with your mind. It's just allowing one word to land, and it'll guide you in the way that most serves. And then after that, I'll read the description of the card, which is written more in conversation, like you and I chatting. That's how that part is read. And that part you'll be like, oh yeah, totally get that. So sit with what I'm going to share first and allow it to just be words that come in, and the words that you need to hear, you'll hear, and the words that don't worry about trying to understand them. And maybe later, if you're like, I think I want to listen to that again, you can come back and hear the words, and you may hear a completely different explanation or definition that you couldn't hear before, but now suddenly you get it. So here is Turning In, card number 4 in the water emotions section of the deck. All right, so go ahead and maybe close your eyes if you can and just allow the words to move through your ears and through your throat chakra and land in your heart or land in your crown, wherever it needs to go. Turning inwards is not a turning at all. Going inwards is not a going at all. Turning inwards simply means that you have been running after this desire and that. You have been running, and you've been coming again and again to frustration. That each desire brings misery. There is no fulfillment through desire. That you never reach anywhere. That contentment is impossible. Seeing this truth, that running after desires takes you nowhere, you stop. Not that you make any effort to stop. If you make any effort to stop, it is again running in a subtle way. You're still desiring, but maybe now it's desirelessness that you desire. If you're making an effort to go in, you're still going out. Any effort can only take you out, outwards. Let me read that again. Any effort can only take you out, outwards. All journeys are outward journeys. There is no inward journey. How do you journey inwards? You're already there. There's no point in going. When going stops, journeying disappears. When desiring is no more clouding your mind, you are in. This is called turning in. But it's not a turning at all. It's simply not going out. The commentary of this card, I'll post the picture of it in the Soulshine Tribe on Facebook. It's an image of this woman. She's really peaceful. She's just sitting with her eyes closed and her hands in her lap, and she's got this beautiful scarf over her shoulders, and there's all this water image in the front that's moving over her lap. It's almost like water is kind of rippling down in front of her. And with her eyes closed, her face is really peaceful, but all around the back of her, there's these shadowy faces that are yelling at her and trying to get her attention and talking to her. And she's just sitting there with this like really peaceful face. So here's what the commentary says. The woman in this image has a faint smile on her face. In fact, she's just watching the antics of the mind, not judging, not trying to stop them, not identified, just watching, as if they were traffic on the road or ripples on the surface of a pond. The antics of the mind are slightly amusing as it jumps up and down and twists this way and that, trying to get your attention and seduce you into the game. To develop the knack of taking a distance from the mind is one of the greatest blessings. Let me read that again. To develop the knack of taking a distance from the mind is one of the greatest blessings. It is what meditation is all about, really. Not chanting a mantra or repeating an affirmation, but just watching, as if the mind belongs to somebody else. You are ready to take this distance now, and to watch the show without getting caught up in the drama. Indulge yourself in the simple freedom of turning in whenever you can, and the knack of meditation will grow and deepen in you. So yes, this is a time and opportunity for us to close our eyes a little more often, be really still, just observe whatever the mind is throwing forward and allow it to just move, to just sort of pass through without attaching to any of it. Just doing that, just sitting, closing your eyes and being still without any agenda, any effort, any striving, any changing of anything, just being still. That's turning in. You just simply stop chasing. You stop running around. You stop chasing the mind, running after the mind. You're just still. In that place, there is huge potential for healing and for understanding and for releasing, for rewriting your own stories, changing the ways that you thought it had to look and the person you had to be and the ways that you had to show up in all the things that you do in your day. You start rewriting the story inside of your mind, and it's not even a conscious thing that you're doing it. You're just realizing who you used to be and becoming aware that it's not working. It doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It's not getting you anywhere further than what you perhaps imagined life could be. It certainly isn't the life perhaps you wanted it to be. So in that still space, when you become aware of all of that, it starts to just drop away, and it becomes easier when you do open your eyes and you start communicating with people and moving around through your work and your community, your neighborhood, your family. It becomes easier to go, I'm aware that I used to do this and I don't like it, and I don't think I'm going to do it this way anymore. And you may not like that I'm going to change how I do things, but I'm realizing it doesn't work for me. So I know if it doesn't work for me, it isn't good for anybody else either. So I'm going to start changing how I do it. And it doesn't matter if they approve or disapprove or like it or get on board. It doesn't really matter. It's that you are making a choice inside of you. That something has to change. It has to be different. The act of turning in, which really isn't even an act, it's just a sitting quietly with your eyes closed and watching what your mind is doing, feeling what is happening in your body. When you turn in, you become aware. You start to see and feel in ways you haven't before because you haven't had time or space for it. You haven't allowed it. And as you are feeling what's true for you, what you're aware of now, that awareness, it's going to propel change without effort, without fighting to make anything happen. Your awareness is simply going to go, oh, here I am later in the day doing this thing that I saw in my quiet space. I don't like it. I don't like that I do that. So right here in this moment later in the day, I'm just not going to do it like that anymore. And then your life begins to change, and it changes in the most miraculous ways, the most exciting, expansive, joyous ways. And it comes from inside. And when it comes from inside like that, nobody has any power over you anymore. It's like finding this little spring of water underneath the ground, and you're standing on the spring, and no matter how much you try, you can't stop that spring from moving through you. And because you're standing on that spring, nobody else gets to do anything about it. It's just energy and love and change that's coming from inside of you. And when you start to move your feet, you realize the spring is at your feet. It moves where you move, and it never runs out. And so there's just this joyful way that you can start experiencing your life in this world. And no one can take it away from you. It's the most miraculous and incredible of shifts in your life. And you're the one that's choosing it and guiding it, and it comes from turning in, which isn't really a turning at all. It's just not going out anymore. It's being with yourself and feeling and allowing and becoming. So if you need visual inspiration, I will post this image in the Soulshine Tribe, and you'll get exactly what I'm describing. And you'll realize it's absolutely possible for you, for the people you love around you, for everyone on this planet. It's absolutely possible. And the only way it's going to happen is from each one of us individually turning in and allowing the transformation to begin. And the more one of us does it, and we're just suddenly communicating differently and showing up differently, and people are like, what? As we start doing that, more and more of us, it's like ping, 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 ping. Everyone starts experiencing the changes, and it's multiplying exponentially at such an incredibly powerful rate. that everything changes. Yeah. So what do? You don't do anything except close your eyes and tune in. Tune in, turn in, stop going out. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me in aligning with the optimal health of your mind, body, spirit in the virtual community of Viv's Energy Gym. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.